What's up, guys? My name is Aaron, aka Super Liger Tiger, and this is Worth It. To describe Worth It, essentially in 2020 there was a period where I was just buying a lot of stuff. And each week or so I would get 10 to 15 different packages in the mail, sometimes more, most of the time more actually. And from there I would open them and realize I didn't need this, or this isn't great. All the stuff that I bought were things that I thought I needed in my life or would change my life, and they all never really did. After a few months or so of doing this, I thought, instead of me telling me how financially unstable I really am, why don't I have other people tell me instead? So I started to go on my Instagram, start to kind of film what you're about to see here, of me unboxing the package, of kind of explaining about what it is, and kind of saying what I like about it, what I don't like, and try to not be as biased as possible, but that's obviously difficult. And from there, have you guys let me know how financially unstable my packages are, my finances, and my life. So without further ado, thank you so much for joining me today for this video. I hope this goes well. I hope everything goes well with Worth It, and that I'll keep doing these in the future. So to kind of start off today, I thought that with my transition from Instagram to YouTube, I have a much bigger, I guess, Worth It to kind of show off, to kind of really start off with a bang. That's why today's Worth It is about the Apple Airpods Max. These are the Apple Airpods Max. So before I do open them, just kind of want to display the box a little bit. So it's going to be a normal kind of Apple-esque product box that you're used to. White has the product, and then on the back, one thing to kind of clarify is I have these two stickers on the side, and that's primarily because I bought this package as an open box from Best Buy. So in a way, it's not exactly new, but after I show you the unboxing, I'll explain how in a way it doesn't feel like there's much of a difference. So on here, it just basically states these are AirPods Maxes with smart case, has it in all the languages, has Apple, says AirPods Max right here. These are your serial codes, and you already know it's just an Apple box that you've seen before. So opening the product themselves, we have the Apple AirPods Max in glorious pink. So one thing for here is that my original footage of unboxing got deleted, so there's going to be some things that are kind of messy here, and that's mostly because I didn't know how to rewrap everything. So in a way, this video is kind of a fake. But ignoring that, essentially this unboxing is kind of fake, this is still what it would look like if you do buy a pair of new AirPod Maxes. So taking these out, they are wrapped in this glorious plastic, which conveniently just fell off. How great. Taking them out, the ear cushions themselves have this white cardboard on it. Taking them off, you don't need those. And here you have the AirPod Maxes themselves. Besides the headphones, these are the case. I will go into a lot of detail about this case because you know the case. And in here you have your instructions, you have your warranty, you have your everything to kind of talk about AirPod Maxes, the instructions, and what to do if you break them. And then finally at the bottom you have your charging cord, which for me is kind of a shock because I've never, I don't really have that much advanced Apple products, and because it's now, if this focuses, like lightning instead of just the normal USB, it's kind of a struggle for me to kind of find out where to plug this part in and essentially charge the AirPod Maxes. But I might just use a different cord instead, since I have so many of the older Apple charging cables, and I hope those work. So, for my first impressions on using the Apple AirPods Max, is that when you take these out and you really start to feel them, you'll notice that these have a kind of great amount of weight to them, mostly because this part is metal, whereas most of my headphones that I've used before were plastic. So they do have more weight than I'm used to for headphones, but it doesn't feel like they're like heavier or anything like that. They just have more weight. Another thing with headphones is that in some cases, when you first try them on or when you're wearing them, with the ear cups, they might not either feel good initially on the ears, or they might just take some time for them to really kind of develop onto you. Like for some headphones, when I put them on and I wear them for a little bit, it feels like my ears are getting warm, and it just kind of feels uncomfortable. For these, in the Apple Airpods Maxes, it feels like that there is a lot of space, kind of hard to see, from like the outside going into the inside, which is really nice. Wearing these for a little bit of time, I didn't feel like there was that much like constriction onto my ears. It felt pretty natural and it felt pretty spacious for the ear cups to my ears. The other kind of cool thing about these, and I wonder if they'll, like, in a way, start making this kind of a thing in the future, is that you can take these off, the foamy parts themselves on the Apple Airpods Max, and it's magnetic, and you can buy new ones or replacement ones in case these get all grossy or you just want to have different ones. And I feel like this would also kind of open up a new market in terms of having different colors. Like if I want to get like black ones and combine it with these pink colors, you can have different color combinations. It can be really cool. And yeah. The other thing that I noticed also is that with other headphones, usually at the bottom, there is this like buttons that you can push to change your songs, pause your music, switch from like noise canceling to whatever mode they have. For the Apple Airpods Max, they have these at the top. You have one button here that you can push to switch from transparency mode to noise canceling mode. And the other thing that I found really interesting is on here you have a knob to change your volume, which for me feels like you can get like the exact volume that you do really want instead of pushing a button beep beep over and over to kind of turn it down or up. I like the knob a lot. I think this is really cool, and I wish other headphones did have this knob as well, so that it's like, it feels like you can get really the perfect volume instead of pushing the buttons. And finally, the last kind of first impression about the AirPods, and this is kind of with all Apple products, is that they connect so easily to your phone. For these, all I have to do is turn them, and then they just start connecting right to the phone. Easy. Don't have to like really stress about making connect or waiting for Bluetooth or anything like that. It just all kind of connects and works out really easily. So before I go into the negatives of the AirPod Maxes, this is what the microphone does sound like. I actually don't know that much because I don't really ever use it, but when I got to listen back to the clips I made, the mistakes I made from this, I felt like the mic sounded pretty good, it sounded pretty clear, and it wasn't really issues. So after testing these for a little bit, the first thing that I did really want to talk about was the noise canceling. For me, my first ever pair of noise canceling headphones was the Sony XM3s, and they felt pretty revolutionary to me, mostly because I never had noise canceling headphones before. I usually just had headphones that when you turn them up really loud, you can't hear anything anymore. So that's what I considered noise canceling. But when I tried them on and the noise canceling activated, it was like going to essentially a whole new world. And with the Apple Airpods Max, that's essentially, in a way, kind of the same. I don't know if I feel the same way of how I first felt when I tried noise canceling headphones, but the noise canceling here does work pretty well. I've tried it while working, tried it while watching like TV or listening to, I guess, outside noises, and it does a pretty good job at blocking a lot. But it does kind of vary between song to song in terms of how strong the noise canceling is. If I'm listening to a song that does not have a lot of, I guess, bass, or doesn't have a lot of, like, excess noise in it, then I can sometimes hear my mechanical keyboard as I type. Or I can hear various outside noises if they do get really loud, if the song isn't as powerful. So I guess noise canceling, it's pretty good, but there are some exceptions in terms of what song you're really listening to, and how it like works with the noise canceling. So for spatial tracking, which is something that I think at the moment only Apple does, maybe other headphones do, I just haven't tried, is when you have spatial tracking on, if you like turn your head to the left, you'll be able to hear your music more in the left ear, and if you turn your head to the right, you'll hear it more in the right ear. So it tracks your head movements so that you don't lose sound, or something like that. Kind of disclaimer, I'm not an expert or a scientist in sound, so if I sound really dumb as I explain this, sorry. But with spatial tracking, I don't exactly know like what I would use it for, because at first it feels kind of weird when you turn and you hear the sound going all this way, and then you turn back and it kind of goes back. I don't exactly see like what advantage it would have over just having the sound be tracked equally on both sides. It might be cool for some other people, and I think it's a cool concept. I just don't know what I'd use it for. So the other thing is transparency mode. For transparency mode, I think this one started with the AirPod Pros, and it's an interesting thing that I'm not sure really worked out for me. When you turn on transparency mode on the AirPods Max, you can hear essentially everything that's going on, but while still hearing your music as well, which is pretty cool. But when I had people talk to me like a few feet away, like as far as like my arm is extending in a way, then I wasn't able to hear their voices, but I could hear like me typing. I could hear like noises outside. I can hear things going on, but I just couldn't hear them talking. So I wasn't sure if like maybe I'm just deaf, or maybe I just don't do transparency mode well. But once again, like spatial tracking, it's cool. I just don't think I'd use it much, mostly because I have these for noise canceling because I don't want to hear people, I don't want to hear things. So I don't really see a reason why I would switch to transparency mode to hear other people. And now the negatives of the AirPod Maxes. And this one is just kind of more primarily for something that really bothers me. But when you first have these in their case, when you take them out, and I'll see if I can like have this sound, but when you take them out, if you heard that, they kind of clang against each other when you take them out of the case. And for me, that bothers me so much. Mostly because these are essentially like $400 or $500 products. And just hearing that clanging, and then I guess moving these a lot, hearing the scraping, hurts my heart so much. Just because it's an expensive product, and you hear the clang clang, and you hear the scratch scratch, and it just, yeah. The other thing that essentially bothers me, and this one can be considered negative or not, kind of how you say it, is kind of how the charging works for the AirPods Max. So when I plug them in, and I'm going to try my best, maybe I'll take it out with the case, but I'm going to try my best to kind of show you what it looks like. When you plug this in, you should be able to see an orange light, which you can't really see here, but it is on. And what kind of confuses me is that as of right now, the light turns off. So after that light turning off, for all my other products, I feel like that means it's fully charged, or it changes the light to a green light, or something like that. But when the light turns off, then I'm not sure if that means that the AirPods are done charging, or if they're not charging at all. And that kind of insecurity bothers me a little bit. There are times where I would have to take it out and kind of look at it on the phone to make sure that the AirPods Maxes did charge. But I don't know, that worry about not being sure if it charged or not, and continuously having to check if it is fully charged or if it had any charge at all, just is kind of a pain in a way, and it's not something that I really like much about the AirPods Max. So one of the biggest negatives, and you probably have seen these in other videos or other reviews of the AirPods Maxes, is essentially this, the case that comes with the AirPod Maxes. I'd like to think that companies like Apple or Google or big places like that have essentially the greatest talent ever on Earth. And with all of that talent, they decide to come up with a case that not only looks like this, but when you put your AirPods Maxes in them, then makes it look like this. I understand the idea that to have this as a case and use this as like a carrying thing so that you walk around, oh my god, I got my AirPod Maxes, look at me, is just something I hate. The case itself has this kind of flimsy feel to it. The magnet here to close them works really well. I don't hate on that, but just this case itself just doesn't feel like much. Even watching me shake this is kind of just gross to me. I like to have cases like other headphones where it's just a big circle and you put them inside and hold them, and just essentially like a normal carrying case for headphones. Having this as a case, I don't like it much, and I've spent a few days like looking for alternatives on like Amazon or Best Buy, any other place in stores and whatnot, for like a different case that isn't this flimsy thing. And finally, when you're buying an Apple product, you gotta know that you're spending a lot more money than you actually really want to in life, because essentially it's going to be a luxury product. For some people, they don't believe that. Some people do. It's kind of all up to you. But for the AirPods Maxes, they are at a normal price of $450 to $500 depending on where you find them. That is actually a pretty steep price for noise canceling headphones in general, but there are like other headphones that are noise canceling you can find at much cheaper price that will essentially do what exactly these do for you. I guess it's just the Apple way to kind of overpay, depending on how you look at it, but the price of these is just kind of astounding, and that's one of the reasons why I decide to buy these as open box. Pricing wise, as I just mentioned, these are $400 to $500. And with Best Buy's open box, and they also had a sale going on, I was actually able to get these for a grand total of $392.64. So before tax, it was $358.99, which is one of the reasons why I also got the pink color instead of like black or green, blue, any of those. But I don't really mind the color. Pink is okay. This pink is not like too harsh. It's pretty cool to wear, and I don't know, they're still all the same thing. But just for open box and the overall price, I paid $392.64 instead of paying the normal price of about $500. So overall, I do feel like these are a great pair of headphones. The noise canceling is pretty good, but obviously there are some negatives, one of them being the price, second of them being the case, but the case can be replaced, so that's all good. And for these, I do use these on a daily basis. I bring these to work, or I just kind of use these if I'm not really doing anything and want to listen to music. I do rotate to some of my other headphones just in case I don't have these around, or I don't know if they're charged or anything like that. So overall, for everything I've told you, both positive, negative about the AirPod Maxes, would you say it's worth it? And in the comments below, and while you're also here, make sure to like and subscribe. Is it worth it? Let me know.